Hey everyone, Michael Bodner here with another Tesla Tunity, and if you're wondering why I'm standing in between what appears to be two exposed electrical outlets, that's because today's project day. It actually started last night and had a change of heart in my plan, so we're going to kind of reconfigure. So we are going to go from a Nema 1450 outlet to an Elon Signature Black high power wall charger. I'm going to walk you through the process, kind of step you through what happened behind me and how we're going to change some things up. So come along with me and check it out. Before beginning this project, please consider consulting with or hiring a professional electrician. Well, as you can see, we've decided to move the wall charger closer to the junction box. Instead of having about a 6.5 foot run, we're just using a right angle 3/4 inch pipe to basically place that wall charger, again, right next to the junction box. It's going to look a lot cleaner. We're not going to have conduit running all across the garage for no reason. There's plenty of reach with the charging cable attached to the wall charger, so it shouldn't be an issue. So step one, we need to make sure the install is level. So what we've done is we've kind of placed the wall charger where it's going to go. We've put one dot with a Sharpie through the top mounting location, and then we're going to use a level to draw a line straight down. The mounting locations on the two holes within the box are about 6.1 inches apart. So we're just going to put a little guideline, again, nice and level, and then we'll put the wall charger back up on the wall, and we'll know exactly where to place our two holes for a perfectly level installation. Once that's done, we can place the mounting box for the wall charger back on the wall. Again, mark off our two locations for the mounting. In our case, we decided to use 4. The concrete block is a little tough to work with, so we figured 4 would be better than 2. You can punch out those 2 extra locations in the box pretty easily, and there you can see them. So we've got our 4 dots. We're ready to start drilling some pilot holes, and then we're going to use tap cons to mount right into the block wall. Now, for those of you who are going to mount into a block wall similar to what I did, the big trick is to make sure you hold your drill level. If you do not hold your drill level, you will get too wide of a pilot hole and your tap cons will not hold properly. All right, so once your 4 pilot holes are in place, time to bring the mounting box back up and then go ahead and screw in your tap cons. Take it nice, slow and steady. You want to make sure you get a good hold. And then after we're done, we're going to check and confirm that everything's level. With the high-powered wall charger, it has mostly curved surfaces. So when you want to check for whether or not it's level, the only place to check is at the bottom. All right, next up, we're going to move on to the 6-gauge wire. Now, this stuff is really difficult to work with. This is pretty thick wire. So my best recommendation is to try to get it just right. You really don't want to have any excess wire in either the wall charger or in your junction box. Unless you have a really big junction box, it's just not going to fit and it's not going to play nice. So we kind of marked where we wanted to be, and then we started cutting. I noticed that Home Depot literally does not sell a wire cutter for 6-gauge wire. So we are literally marking it and sawing the wire to make it fit. All right, now that we have the wire in the conduit, it is time to prepare the wires for the connections. So again, there's no wire cutter that I found that supports a 6-gauge wire. They seem to mostly be for 10-gauge, some for 8, but none for 6. So best bet, you're going to be using a razor blade, so be nice and careful with this. Take your time. So you can see we kind of cut the shielding on the individual wire strands and then pull it back carefully. And then we're going to do the same thing with the wire in our junction box. Again, I want to point out here, I used to have a Nema 1450 installation, so the junction box is actually where my original outlet was. And now we're just preparing the wires in that junction box for the connections. You'll note if you're coming from a Nema 1450 installation, you will have an extra wire With the Nema 1450 installation, you've got a 3-wire install plus a ground. The wall charger is a 2-wire installation plus a ground. So you can see we're not doing anything with that white wire. We're going to go ahead and cap that off later, leaving behind the black and red as well as the ground. Now note, please do work with an electrician if you're not sure, and colors may vary for you. So it might not be exactly the same as my setup. But it's time to go ahead and place the wire into place. Now with the wire in the conduit, this is now officially pretty tough to work with. It's pretty rigid, so you're gonna kind of have to manhandle it into place a little bit. So you can see us kind of trying to figure out ways to make that happen, and there you go. We've got it in place, so we're in good shape now. You're going to use your lock nuts to lock everything into place, which you can see us kind of twisting onto the end of the conduit on each side. It can get a little tight in there, especially in the junction box, especially with all those wires in place now. So just take your time, make sure you don't cut any of the shielding, and you'll be all set from there. All right, so you can kind of see, and I apologize for our backs and our heads being in front of the camera for a good portion of this, but we've pulled the wire through to make just enough for the connection in the wall charger. You unscrew the terminal locations, pull the wire down, and then tighten it back down, and your wire is officially in place. Again, remember I mentioned that white wire was not in play here. So again, we're just going to kind of cap that off and leave it in place. It won't have any role in our installation. All right, now it's time to make our connections in the junction box. So again, our coloring works out. I don't want to tell you that that's the absolute truth, that it's always going to be that way. Everyone's home is wired differently, but in our case, we do get lucky. It's red to red, black to black, and of course, ground to ground. Make sure your wire caps properly support 6-gauge wire. They're considerably bigger than kind of wire caps you might be used to if you've changed out a light switch or a ceiling fan, but we're going to pair off all the wires. And again, with the 6-gauge wire, it is really tough to work with it. Maybe it doesn't look so tough in the video, but you really need to get the wires into place to communicate with each other. And once they're all capped off, we'll leave it open for now just to make sure we've done everything right. And it's time to move on to bringing in the wall charger. Now there are some things that I do want to point out here as you put the wall charger on top of the housing. And you'll see, because we're doing this top mount, we already have the terminated wires. We have the black, the red, and then the yellowish green, obviously for the ground. Pay close attention. So the first time up, we kind of didn't realize that it would matter, but you want to position the wires feeding through that back hole on the wall charger in the order in which they're going to plug in, because you have basically just enough wire to make it work. And if they're kind of out of order, the wrong wires on the left side versus the right hand side, it will be incredibly tough to near impossible to feed it up to make a connection. So we actually ended up backing this off of the wall and repositioning the wires to get it right. Once you have the wires in order, they will feed up into the proper locations. If you're not sure, a good guide, on the black plate, the wires will be labeled where they're coming from. And within the wall charger, that's where they're going to be going to. So that was kind of the trick to make sure we knew which location the black wire plugged into and which the red wire plugged into. You can really see at this point, as if you haven't seen it along the way, but this is kind of a two-man job for the installation. You could do it by yourself for sure. Having an extra set of hands is very helpful, with one person kind of pulling on the wire and then one person tightening down the terminal block to hold the wire in place properly. It's just tough wire to work with. There's no way around that. So if you can, certainly having an extra set of hands will go a long way to helping you. All right, now after you've made all your connections, again, the power's still off at this point. There's a couple of adjustments you're going to do. Now, I'm sorry it's hard to see But you're going to turn a very tiny dial that's going to match up to the amperage that you have set with your breaker. So the nice thing about the wall charger is that you can kind of control your charging level. If you don't want to go all the way up to a 100 amp service on this, you don't have to. In this case, we have a 50 amp breaker, and we're going to use 40 amps for charging, and that's a setting 8 on the dial, but it's all in the user manual. It'll tell you exactly what to set, and once you're done, it's time to connect the cover plate. You'll see that there is a ribbon connection, kind of held down by some masking tape. You're going to connect that to the back of the faceplate. That's going to control, again, the status light, and then you'll snap the cover in place and screw it back down. You will note, I didn't show it in the video since it had happened the day before, taking off the cover plate to get to the elements within. The kit does come with all the Torx drivers you need. So you'll need some kind of ratchet to maneuver it, but the Torx bits are included. And once we're done, we're going to go ahead and flip the breaker, turn the power back on for the first time, and we'll let the status light tell us how we did. And basically, to confirm a successful installation, you'll have a single green light at the top of the charger. And as you can see, we've done everything right. And that's really it. Time to tie up some loose ends. We'll go ahead and flip the breaker back off and just kind of finalize everything. Now covering the junction box. Of course, we left that open temporarily just in case we had any issues with our connections that we could make some adjustments. But now that everything's in order, we'll go ahead and screw that cover plate on to protect all the wiring behind it. And then the finishing touch, of course, we will snap into place the Elon Signature cover plate, and it includes one screw at the bottom. Again, the Torx driver's included, and that's it. You're all set. So we'll power it back up, wrap the charging cable around it, and we are ready to go. All right, so that's it. There you have it. That's the Elon Signature Black wall charger from Tesla. Green light means we did it right. So we'll catch you on the next one, everyone. If you liked this video and you'd like to see other videos like it, please always remember to subscribe to my channel, comment, and like my videos. This helps my channel grow, and it also helps to make sure that I'm always making videos that you all are interested in seeing. If you're buying a new Model S, Model 3, or Model X, you can use my referral code to get 6 months of free supercharging with the current promotion. The code is Michael34469, or you can click on the link down below in the description, and that will take you directly to the ordering page with the referral code already plugged in.